Welcome to the Coffee Bar Stories,
A DTZ Entertainment Presentation.
hosted by Dad and Son.
Okay, welcome to episode 11. This is board games. We're going to have a conversation about board games. We're going to start it out on the first section with, see how many we can put. I'm going to have Son over there and Bubba with me, and we're going to talk about them and see if we can name some that you remember and maybe a few you don't. So, do you want either one of you boys have one you want to kick it off with?
I like one of the first board games I remember playing from my childhood. Is Candyland, and I couldn't tell you the rules now, and I don't even think I ever played it the right way the first time. I was so young when I played it, but yeah, Candyland's one of the older ones that I remember.
Yeah, Candyland it's very good for you kids to play because it has numbers counting.
Yeah,
there's a thing for it. It's so basic that it's kept around for a long time. You got one, Bubba? You know what?
One that I used to like and play a lot was Operation.
Yeah.
I used to play that a lot.
Yeah, Operation. That's a fun one.
oh yeah, Operation's pretty cool. And what was the other one with you had these shapes that had little pegs you had to try to put into this thing before it shot them out?
Oh, that's Perfection.
Yeah, Perfection.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
That game was hard.
Yeah, Perfection. Me and your aunt had it, and we also had another one that was a number game.
Yeah.
That did the same thing. It was just, except it was like round caps that sat down, and then you put the timer on, and then you go. I guess you put them in order or something like that.
Yeah.
Find them coinciding or something, right? And you hit a stop button and everything. There was about 2 or 3 different type of games that did the popping on you with timers. It was kind of a big thing for us in the 70s and stuff. More I got is like Mousetrap. That one was a pretty good fun kid game.
I don't ever remember playing the game. I just remember setting it up and letting it go.
I've played it several different times. It is pretty fun. It takes a while, but you gotta get the right age group to play together. Because if you get little guys, and I don't mean little guys, I'm talking just they can grab some of it. It gets, all they want to do is they don't want to do how you build it and the whole 9 yards when you play it, because you build it as you play.
Yeah,
they don't want to do that. They want to put it together and then watch it go off. Another good one. Keeping with batteries, we'll go with Simon Says.
Yeah.
Because Simon Says it has 4 colors. It had maybe 3 modes to it.
Yeah.
And stuff. It get quick.
Oh yeah, it did. I hated playing those things for whatever reason. I guess my brain just didn't like them. But I guess I was dumb, couldn't remember. But the minute it started getting way too fast, I'm
It
out.
gave me anxiety.
Yeah.
See, that's like with the pop-up games. That was a big anxiety thing.
Oh yeah. Another board game I remember from my yesteryears, Stratego.
Yeah.
I used to play it with you a lot, actually, Bubba.
Yep.
I don't, as the theme it goes, I don't remember the rules now, but...
Stratego, yeah. A lot of people that played that also played Risk. They
Yeah,
like
I
that
played
game,
Risk.
too, and stuff.
I don't think I've ever played Risk, and if I have, I don't remember.
Yeah, Risk was a game that you played with basically soldiers. Your country's invading other countries. You got the world map laid out.
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff. Yeah, it depends. You got to read the instructions and stuff. The ultimate one, Clue, right there. I mean, everybody.
Did you know that we have a never ever obtainable limited edition, only one ever made, limited edition box art for Clue?
Dude.
Yeah.
It's made by yours truly.
It's made by me. I don't know what happened to it, but
Yeah,
I think something sticky got on the box and ripped it off, so I drew the face back on, and it looks bad, but it's limited edition now.
That's terrible, you guys. Another good one was Sorry. That was a good one where you could knock each other back.
Oh, yeah.
I was good at that.
There was like a Happy Days. They came out with games. There's probably quite a few. There was a Mr. T game that I happened to see and stuff, which I was surprised to see.
How about the most cheating-ass game ever?
What?
What?
The Game of Life.
Oh,
Life. Yeah, that's on there. I was going to say that. Life.
Yeah, I never cared for Life. Those games get way too long, and they just make me upset. I don't like it.
They're like a Monopoly. Everybody knows Monopoly.
Yeah, that too. Monopoly just takes...
Game.
Unfortunately, I am competitive.
Dude, with board games, I stop giving a shit after a while, and I'll just start cheating. Because if I'm losing, I just don't care anymore.
That's the thing. You got to find the type of game, especially for me and you. It's got to be a game that holds our attention, and it definitely has to be kind of, I ain't gonna say short, but it's got to be within time framing, not
Oh, yeah.
2 hours. An hour's about all I put up with. You know,
Mhm.
I mean straight hour play, not setting it up and all that, but a straight hour play, that's about enough I can take because I start wearing down and everything. Cards is a little different, but board games it definitely does.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it also depends on the board game. If it's a Monopoly or Life, yeah, it's gonna wear me down.
Oh yeah, because I remember, whenever someone says let's play Monopoly, the only thing I can think of is that one Dane Cook joke where he's like, "Where the fuck's the pink 50s, Grandma? You hiding them in your fucking bra?" Flips the table. Monopoly, man, it brings out the worst in people.
I love Monopoly, and I'm very good at Monopoly, so I will not chime in on how much I'm gonna rag on it because I can't rag on it. I love it.
Well, like Monopoly, they also came out with a game back in my day was Mad Magazine. It was on the basics like that. That was that. Now that game, I played it. I don't remember a whole lot because I was playing with my older cousins. I was like their partner. You know, they included me basically. But I remember that board game because I was so interested in the comical way it was set up and everything.
Mm-hmm.
13 Dead End Drive board game. Now on the Clue tip, now that's a good board game there. If you like Clue.
Yeah, and I've heard of it. I've never gotten to play it though, but I actually really want to.
Clue, you know, it's kind of like Clue, but it's got like a building set up.
Yeah.
What it's like you know, inside the mansion, they got a second level.
Okay.
That it's like the balcony areas. All you see is like the front of the balcony with the wall behind it and the entrance. And
yeah,
it's part of the game too. You gotta go up in and all that good stuff. So that one's a mystery game. And I also found one that I was kind of surprised they had out, but this is an older game. Was 21B Baker Street, a Sherlock Holmes game.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh wow, you know, because I like Sherlock Holmes mysteries and all
so
that.
Do I.
I love the old with the Baskerville, the British
Yeah,
actors.
the Baskerville Hound one.
No, it's the. Well, I love all that stuff, but the actors, they did a TV series in Britain and stuff, and I like their TV series of the British actors really portray the Watson and Sherlock real well. Uno, that's always a good fun game.
I don't think I actually know how to play Uno.
I do, but I know a different version because everybody knows a different version of Uno.
Well, you got people that like to play it, make certain ways so they can because of their style of playing.
Because there's so many different styles and rules to Uno. Like the official Uno is if you want to get to the rule set, it's the rule set in the video because Uno produced and made that.
Yeah, I know.
There's like throw-ins. There's things where if you like put down zeros, everybody's hand shifts to the right.
See, that's a bunch of weird rules. Another game I remember is Connect 4.
Oh yeah, that's
I love
fun.
Connect 4.
I
Connect
like
4 is
that
great.
Game. Connect 4 at Battleship.
Mm-hmm. Battleship's another one that was
kind of
really
goes
fun to
along
play.
with it. Now
Battleship.
Twister fires.
Twister, I've never enjoyed playing. I've played it a few times, and
it was all right. It was more like for party people. Play, you know what I mean, like group.
Yeah.
So, but when I was a kid, a really popular one was, and you could play with a buddy, was Rock'em Sock'ems. They're
Rock'em
robots
Sock'em
that
robots?
box.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, I
It
love
was
those
so cool
things.
because it was a boxing ring. It had the ropes around it the whole night. You know, it's like wow, and you're beating each other up and popping heads up. You know, that was a fun game. Yahtzee, that's a classic. Everybody loves that. Pictionary. Now, Pictionary was pretty fun. I've played that a couple different times with, relatives and stuff in the family. Because if you get now that's fun. That's group fun there. That Pictionary is. And Trivial Pursuit, that can be fun if you're playing with the right people.
yeah.
And or if you have the right type of, because Trivial Pursuit from its beginnings to, today, I mean, there's many versions of it in different styles to it. So you could find one that would fit the atmosphere of the crowd you want to play with.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But back in the day when it was just that, you really found out who had knowledge and who didn't have knowledge because it was a mixture of things. And I tell you what, your Grandpa Dan, oh man, he always kicked ass in that. That was one smart guy, I tell you what.
Yeah.
When we played with him, he'd fill that pie up. And I would be grateful because I'm dipshit. I'm trying to land on something like entertainment, something I would hopefully know something about, you
Yeah.
know. And when I did, I get lucky, like get old movies and stuff like that, and I know them because of, you know, Grandma Linda. She watched those all the time, and I always watch TV with her. So
Yeah.
you know, so I would get lucky with that. But
Something I used to see that I've always wanted to try is Walmart or something. Is Taboo.
Taboo. I think we had that at one time. That's a pretty good one too. That's a fun game. When you start getting into ones that are slightly intellectual, not like crazy knowledge, but something that makes you think, they get fun. They got some interesting ones out there and stuff. I'll tell you, board game that I really enjoyed as a kid was Stop Thief.
Yeah.
That was one where it actually had a little electronic keypad that you played with, and it'd tell you where the break-in was, you know, and stuff. This wasn't mysteries. This was catching a thief. So, you know, it's like live action. You could play them with 5 or 6, 7 people can play, you know, and you're running around trying to catch this guy and putting in codes. Now, that game was pretty fun, and I actually looked it up, and I can't afford the original one that everybody wants arms and legs, but there is one that you can buy it, and you get an app that works as the game controller did. Now,
that's cool.
I thought about that. That might be fun to get, because I really did enjoy it. I can play it by myself. I don't have to have, you know, make people play with me.
Yeah.
You know, that one I did used to play by myself. Okay, let me see, what other games do we got here? There was a Happy Days board game. I think I mentioned that. Payday. The Payday board game. Now that one was kind of a sneaky. There's kind of this board games that were kind of sneaky for us, I guess, back in the 70s in a way, because you think about Payday, Monopoly, like that. It's teaching you certain things too. Like Payday, obviously you're trying to get to payday, paying bills, doing this, that, and that on the board game and stuff. So there's trying to teach you to be financially responsible. Then you got life, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
How life, as far as that setup goes. And then you have Monopoly for, you know, learning how to purchase properties, what it means, what you can do, you know, and stuff. I mean, if you really think about it, there's lessons to learn in those games, and they were pushed heavily upon you back in the day.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of monopolies out. Like they changed.
Well,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I understand versions, but no, I mean, when they were back at like in the 70s and 80s and stuff, I mean, they were really advertised at you. The board game was, you know, play Monopoly, play Payday, play, you know, Life, that kind of stuff. The commercials were constantly inundated at you and stuff. They really pushed that type of stuff, and it's a good way to, you know, get a lot of people on the same page, you know, so to speak. So, Scrabble.
Yeah.
Oh, sheesh.
That's
I get
one.
whooped in that every time I play.
So do I.
And Kerplunk. I don't know if you know.
I've heard of Kerplunk. I don't think I really know what it is though.
Oh, I played it.
That one had plastic sticks. They looked like skewers, and there was a tube. It was like tapered at each end, and what you did is had in the center of it, running around it, had holes all around it in several spots, many holes, and you put all these sticks in it, and when you fill up to where there's no more holes left and all the sticks are in, you can drop the balls in, the marbles.
Yeah.
And you pull out sticks and stuff, and you try to get more sticks than the other ones before
all the marbles fall through?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I have played it before then, because that sounds extremely familiar, and I can already picture it in my head.
There was
I was a cheater at that game.
Oh no,
that one
because you can kind of, if you know how to do it, you can kind of force the other person to have to.
Well, that's not cheating. That's actually strategy is what that is.
Mean.
I'll tell you another game that's on the, like where it's strategy too, but it's independent. Is I had a game called Don't Break the Ice, and what it basically was this plastic stand that the center was open in, and it had these little cubes that's supposed to be ice, square cubes, and you pack it in there upside down, and in the center of it had a little bit bigger cube. It'd be like 4 cubes that you put a little guy on, and then when you get that done, you put them on there, you start tapping out the ice, and everybody takes turns, and whoever breaks the ice loses, obviously, and whoever has the most ice cubes wins.
Oh, okay.
And stuff. There was a couple different games like that. Then, of course, all the silly games that have come out through the years and stuff. The Don't Feed the Animals or Hungry Hippos.
Oh, yeah.
You know, silly little games like that where there's no skill, no nothing to it. You know, like the kiddie games. Yeah. You know, just before you get in the board.
What about
Jenga?
Yeah, that was fun.
That's it. That game. That get people into fights there.
Oh yeah, I don't like Jenga.
Yeah, Jenga. You got to play that with a certain certain temperament of people. They get a little battly on that.
Oh, definitely.
What's that one game that's kind of like Sorry? Is it? I think it's Canasta.
I've never.
Oh
played
yeah,
Canasta.
the star-looking thing with multicolors and marbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen it, but never did play it.
No, that's Mancala.
Oh, okay. And
The one with like the weird like elephants and camels with a weird diamond-shaped game board.
With cards.
Oh,
Yes.
That's Canasta.
I've seen it, but I've never played it.
I'm pretty sure that's Canasta.
Oh yeah, it could be. I don't know.
I think it's
Shit.
kind of like Sorry.
See, I've played Sorry a few times, and I actually did I did kind of enjoy it, but I think I'm a sore loser because I get really, really pissed when I start losing.
Well, see, that's the thing. Also, is temperament. Like your youngest brother, he cheated all the time. Mom would catch him. You know, she don't play games with him anymore because I don't know if he cheated to cheat or what his reason was behind it. But you know, I played a game. I play it. You know, so okay, we named off quite a few board games, and I'm sure we missed quite a few others. People
Definitely.
thinking about. And I'll tell you what, since if you can think of it, tell us your favorite board game. Email us, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
That'd
Give
be
it a
kind
play.
of fun.
Give it a play or something.
Yeah. We'll read through and we'll have like an episode of catch-ups and
Something
stuff
like
on
that,
certain.
yeah.
You know, we'll make a wrap-up of 5 or 6 episodes we've done. If we left hanging or anything, people got questions, email us and we'll respond and send you a friendly hello and let you know when. I guess you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're friendly. We're not mean. Okay. I guess we'll end section 1 and here and move on to section 2 and discuss more after these messages.
Rello Radio Show, Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. DJ CO1.
And welcome back. And now we're gonna talk a little bit about some more board games, different ones, but our favorite ones. And I'm gonna start us off with probably gonna be Warhammer.
Warhammer 40K.
No, actually. So
Okay.
there's Warhammer 40K, but there's another version called the I'm probably gonna get it wrong, but the Warhammer Age of the Empire or something. It's like a fantasy Warhammer.
Okay.
And, could you
Now-
explain to us
yeah.
what Warhammer is? Because I kind of know what it is, but
Okay.
I'm
like
not
like
so
like
fully
for
understanding.
for the layman, would they be able to compare it to like a Dungeons and Dragons type thing?
Sort of.
Okay, so at least they got kind of an idea.
Yeah,
This is
it's-
based on, or it's
it's-
not based, but it's gonna be similar to
It's
what a Dungeons
really,
and
really
Dragons
long
would do.
when it comes to the lore because this game actually has lore to it. It just
The
takes
background,
forever. And it's split. It's a game where you choose a faction or in this instance it would be a race, and you've got like elves, you've got dark elves, you've got wood elves, you've got
The whole game is
chaos.
based on elves.
You've got the chaos tide. You've got the vermin tide.
Oh,
They're
now,
called
what
the
is a
Skaven.
chaos tide and bear?
Vermin
Like,
tide?
what would they kind of look like?
Chaos are like eldritch, disgusting, demonic beings
Like
that
big goony.
demons essentially. Yeah, like
So I would say like
heavy armor, disgusting looking,
kind of like
doom
yeah.
looking thing.
Okay.
And they have like swords and shit because this is like medieval
Right.
kind of thing. But I get that. However this works, there's chaos gods and they infect and blood. It's long.
It almost
Okay.
sounds like it's based off of the Greek, you know, the Greek gods and that kind of crap. Not
It
not.
dips his toe, but it's not like
No, I mean where you're throwing like gods into this
Yeah,
and everything. It
and-
kind of sounds like, you know.
The vermin believe that they have a god, and they
And-
call him the Horned One.
And what would the
And they
vermin
listen to.
vermintide be?
I'm trying to explain.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, like what would they look like? Is what I'm-
They are rat men.
okay.
Rats?
They're rats, and believe it or not, they're the most dangerous thing in that game.
Well, think about it. If you're a New York rat, they're
'Cause
pretty tough there.
I know a little bit more about the Skaven because they're my favorite than all of the rest of them. But
Is that another race in the game?
yeah, no,
Okay.
the Skaven is the Vermintide.
Oh, okay.
It's what happens. It's the era of the Vermintide is where these rats come
Okay, so this has like
from.
ever
it's-
expanding
yeah,
lore.
Like I said earlier, it's over ages.
Okay,
So
okay.
this is a type of game that's been set up to be, so to speak, never ending, really. I mean, so you guys,
It's
so you
the,
can.
the point of the game is to you control these units on a table,
Yes.
and you roll dice.
and is it like a war?
It's a war.
Okay, so Basically, you got to win a war against two different whoever the
With-
parties included.
Okay.
With army of mini
So
units,
okay,
and
because I can see the value in it where you can play, more than
Oh yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
often.
it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Each race has a champion, and they all have different unique abilities. It's really crazy. It's deep.
See, that does sound like a Dungeons and Dragons where
Yeah.
mystical spell, and if you've ever seen the Big Bang Theory, you kind of watched it, about the Dungeons and Dragons a little bit.
Yeah.
You get the gist of it from them, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that where it's how it works. That game sounds pretty good because I can imagine how
It
many
takes-
games came out after Dungeons and Dragons actually hit.
Oh,
and took
so
off,
many
Yeah.
different types
tried to
of
copy
games.
on their own.
The
Pathfinder.
hard part with this game, though, is to play it, you have to read rule books that are as thick as history books.
Oh wow.
You gotta
and-
I mean, I can understand that, and D&D is kind of the same way because you really need to understand
And
the game rules.
You have to
play.
buy these miniature pieces,
Yeah,
and they're expensive, and you have to paint them, and
you
even
don't have to paint them.
and
If
to
you
buy
wanna
them
go-
pre-painted is even more expensive. It would cost like $300 for a mini army.
And they sell like carry-on editions and book
yeah.
site
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff.
the-
Okay.
You can
I-
find that stuff.
There's
at like
I believe there's another game that was out when I was growing up that was like that. I don't know what type of play it was, but like you kept buying additions to it, and they were books. And the way you play, it may have been a Dungeon and Dragon thing I didn't know about,
Yeah.
or it may have been actual different type of game altogether. I'm not sure. I just remember that they would put out additions to and stuff, and I could see the point in it as a moneymaker. Everything any way
yeah,
you do
definitely.
it, it's a moneymaker.
Age of Sigmar. That's what
Age of Sigmar.
Warhammer Age of Sigmar, I think
Oh,
is what it's
okay.
called.
Okay.
My favorite, I guess, card game from when I was like my favorite one ever has to be Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh. And it's basically card game where it's two people and you both have life points, 8,000. It would be from the rules that I remember, and the point of the game is to get your opponent's life points to 0. So you have monster cards that deal attack damage and whatnot, so you would be able to play them. And then you have spell cards and trap cards that you can place down.
This sounds like poker. What can out trump what and everything. This sounds like multitude of regular card games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That
And
rolled into one in a way.
They made a whole
Okay.
show about it and everything. And
There was
there's
a lot
videos.
of
What to like
cards.
introduce it or
No, it
No,
was
just because of the hype of the game itself when it came out. Like, so many people like, oh, this is the next greatest thing. And then they made a little cartoon about it. And that cartoon, it now has like 12 different series.
yeah. See that like the Yu-Gi-Ohs and Pokemon. I didn't get any of that. It didn't make a lot of the. What is it? Anime.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're considered anime.
Whatever circles around that, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's.
That whole thing is just it literally foreign to me.
Oh, yeah, me and Bubba over here can probably go into a deep dive about anime.
Yeah,
But
like Yu-Gi-Oh,
that's-
I don't get it.
Yeah, but Yu-Gi-Oh!
Speed Racer was the only thing I was introduced to like that, and that thing was generic as it gets.
Yeah,
So it surprised me how anime with the backstories that you guys talk about, how some of them go into.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And with the Yu-Gi-Oh, well, I remember the cartoon had its first season. It was the first series that ever came out, first season.
Because I used to play that
Yeah,
too.
because it was those rules that came out. You had your monster cards had stars on, and if they were 4 stars or lower, you could put them out in the field, play those cards. It didn't matter. But if they had a star higher than 4, like 5, you would have to sacrifice one of your monsters to bring it out. There was big on Egyptian lore too. They based themselves off like Egyptian history and whatnot. So they had a
Really?
lot of yeah.
And
so
this
there's
this is from the Orient.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
See,
Japan.
the creators, I'm just saying.
Yep,
See,
Japan.
I find that odd that they're using Egyptian lore and especially the Orient, because really, really, really back you can go into
Oh yeah.
Lore
to
on that.
really pick out some stuff. You know, what I mean, they go so far back that ain't funny as far as for what the games can do
Yeah, and there's
or use. I mean,
yeah, the game it's fun. You gotta find people that you know you're gonna play with, because it is one of those types of games where if you have this one person that knows more about the game is a bit better than you, you can have a really bad time because it's all about how your deck is shuffled and it's all about the cards in your hand because you only get 7 cards and then you can draw, but
Okay.
you only have
Yeah,
And I
it
think you can
is
only have-
basically a card game, like Old Maid
I think you
and
can have
whatnot.
like
It's
50
just
cards, was it?
You're allowed to have the maximum amount of cards you can have in a deck from when I played was 80, but you can only have 3 of the same card. Any more than that, and you couldn't have it.
oh,
and then
supposedly like stacking a deck. So
yeah,
that'd be
and then there
considered
was certain other cards that they had that they made that were just outright banned that you couldn't have in there no matter what because either
well, then
they
why
were
did they have them?
Spirit board, the final,
the Final Destination cards.
Yeah.
There
Well,
were.
that's fucking janky.
It's because
It sounds like it's a big
because-
fucking screw you, dude. You
When
got
they-
an
it's
extra
when
card
they-
for nothing.
yeah, when they made them, they came out just way too overpowered to where that it made the game no fun if you drew it. It's
For instance,
This game sounds like it's
that final card,
like it's a
thing,
big finger in your face type deal. Because it lets you have things and then it don't let you use things.
But they have a shit ton of cards.
there's maybe over 1 billion different cards.
Because this is how overpowered this was. If you had all 4 of the final cards out and you activate them at the same time,
you instantly
win.
win. Yeah, and then there was another card. It was called Exodia. If you had all 5 pieces of them, because it would be his left hand, his right arm, then
Okay.
left leg, right leg, and then the main body. If you had all of those in your hand at once, you won instantly.
Oh, okay.
So
okay,
there was cards that if you could get all of them at the right time, you instantly win. But to bank on those strategies wasn't really a good idea. And then there was also what they like to call the Egyptian god cards, which they were
the rarest cards.
yeah,
ever.
they were supposedly in the game, in like the show and all that. They're extremely rare. There's only 1 copy of them ever. But in real life, you can find some out there, but you're not gonna find one of them. Say you went to go buy a pack of these at the store, you're never gonna find one in there. This is something that somebody got extremely lucky and somehow pulled the card.
I had all of them.
Yeah, we at one point had all 3 of them. If you get all of those in your hand at one point in the game, you win instantly. There's a bunch of cheeky ways to win in the game, but I like the strategies.
Now, what do you gain for winning?
Honestly, nothing. It's
Nothing.
a
You
card
don't
game.
take their
You could-
cards?
No, oh, actually, no, that is
You
the,
could trade
yeah,
any
that's the,
card.
yeah,
no,
that's-
not trade them. Not.
No, that's the thing.
That's the thing. It's an.
I mean,
ante-up
like
card.
you lose them.
Yeah, what you would do is you would place a card up for ante, and if
Oh.
yeah, and
Okay.
if you
okay.
won, you keep
Jesus
both cards.
Christ, they're wrapping up poker. They're getting you to gamble. They're getting you guys.
It was
Jeez.
how they
Welcome
did
to the
that.
casino.
The reason they did that was to encourage card trading. That way, you would always get something new.
Oh.
That
Okay.
so
like trading baseball cards, so to speak.
So
Okay.
it was like an unspoken agreement of when you get into this duel that whoever wins gets a new card, and either way, a winner's gonna walk away with a card, or they can shake on it and just not.
Yeah.
It's all up
Some
to them.
people
Now-
did it over
now-
money.
Now these are
That's more gambling.
now that's
though.
the card game that actually they would set up halls worth of tables for kids to play at, right?
Oh,
They'd
oh
have
yeah,
like
oh yeah.
tournaments, so to speak, I guess, right?
Same goes for the
Okay.
Pokemon card game, but I don't know too much about that one to even talk about
Okay.
it.
Well,
It's
yeah.
kind
Okay.
of the same,
I know
but-
what you're talking about. I
It's
remember
on the
seeing.
same level as Magic.
I remember seeing that. Oh yeah, that magic. That.
Yeah, the Magic the Gathering is kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh as well, but at Magic the Gathering, I don't understand it whatsoever.
Has its own thing. I play it, but it's beyond anybody else's reach.
It comes down to what you're interested in too. You can
It's-
grasp
you have
it
to
if you
be
really like
interested in
it.
it, and you have to be willing to learn how to play it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you're interested, you would learn. That's not a problem.
And the sad thing is, I really like Yu-Gi-Oh. If I want them like Bubba and Squirt, I want them to get back into it because I really want to play with them again, and play the game. But if I could just get into Magic, because I know them two play it, I could just play that with them. But for some reason, it doesn't grasp my
It
attention.
doesn't really have a lore.
Cause I don't know, man. It doesn't interest me. I just, I mean,
I think that's where I'm at
none
with
of
it.
those kind of games. I just find them silly. I guess as far as it, I don't know. I guess because when they came out, I was an adult and everything. You know, hell, I only know about them because of you boys. So
Yeah.
obviously, you know.
There was also, before we move on to what's your favorite one of all time
Go
is,
ahead.
I don't know if you remember this, but it's another show. I actually don't remember too much of it, but it's called Zatch Bell.
Oh my god.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. I don't
Yeah,
remember hearing about that.
I know he's having a whole nostalgia trip right now, but from what I
It's-
remember of the
He's
show,
slapping his ass off.
from like what I remember of the show is that these people had these things with them. They're like little
They're
creatures.
called Momotos.
Okay, they're called Momotos, and they're little people or something, and they know spells and shit, and like they fight each other with those and shit. And
Okay.
Yeah, and I know the card game was basically the card was your spell book, and you're just fighting each other with the cards basically. And I know we had maybe a few of the cards, but we never had anything to
We never
qualify
had
actually
actual spell
playing.
That's not the game they turned into LARPing, did it? Is
No,
it?
no.
Okay,
D&D
okay.
was more of was where you get the LARPing from.
Okay.
Which actually, strangely enough, I think I wouldn't mind trying to do some type of live action role playing of.
If you get the
If
right
I-
people together, because
It would have to be a
some
decent area and like
yeah.
like something built up for that, for like a grand quest, like
Yeah,
some type of
because you
Renaissance
got-
fair type place.
Because you get people that get real weird with it and stuff. I mean, just
Oh yeah.
it's for the moment. This is not your whole life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're here to have fun. That's the whole thing about it. I want to pretend I'm,
Yeah, an
King
adventure.
Arthur or whatever. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how the hell you LARP, so yeah, I guess I won't be doing
I
it.
wanted to actually try to milsim. That's for a different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Back on subject here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks.
So, what is your favorite board game of all time, actually?
Really, besides the stops thief that I know I wore you guys out with,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just liked how we played all kinds of different board games at Christmas time and stuff at at grandma's and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
and then my cousins, how it was set up. I have so many cousins on that side of my family that they range everywhere. So when we played board games, even when I was young, I was always included.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me and your aunt, we were always included into it. Basically, they were probably watching us because, how that goes at gatherings. But
Oh yeah.
even at Thanksgiving, too, we'd play board games, just not what they got for Christmas. And I really enjoyed playing, just the whole ambience of playing with other people like that and family and stuff. I do really like Clue and mystery games like that. I think the mystery games pretty much are my favorite. Because, like Sherlock Holmes and whatnots, those games, there's an adventure to it. There's a lot of thinking, and stuff like that. To play board games and just to pick a real favorite, it depends on my moods how it is. I connect forward, like if just me and one of you boys are sitting around and wanted to do that, and stuff. Playing board games for me just is fun to do, period. I don't care what they really are. There's a few of them I don't care for, but those are just, they're kind of those specialty ones.
Yeah.
And that's something that really, like I was telling you, looking up, board games and stuff so I could get a nice list going, I was so surprised about how genre board games were for the 70s and 80s and stuff. You had like Mr. T, any TV show, they had a board game for it. Pac-Man, they had a board game.
Yeah.
There was
Pac-Man had one. Street Fighter had a board game. Tetris, surprisingly enough, had a board game.
Yeah, I found that
There
so
were
odd.
so many.
And I didn't see, if I did see them, I didn't pay attention, but I was so amazed how it seemed like cartoons were almost basically how they produced new board games. You had your staples that we had talked about, and then it was like these board games popped up all the time. It still happens today, I
Oh yeah,
imagine.
definitely. Especially with Monopoly, how it has so many different versions.
Well, no, I'm not talking. That's a staple. I'm talking like just they pop up. Like I said, Mr. T board game. I don't even know what it was formed about, what it meant to, the goal of it was. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I vaguely remember from my childhood some type of Dora the Explorer board game. And I don't even think it was based off something either.
The Blues Clues. The children, like especially for
Caillou.
children games, definitely. Yeah, Caillou's. They went into the children's TV shows and stuff because nowadays I don't think they're as much into because there really isn't a Saturday morning cartoon, so to speak, anymore.
It's more so like the Peppa Pigs, those Paw Patrol shows.
Anything that's popular from Nickelodeons and Disney's and stuff like that's really what comes out is what I see. And then you get the little goofy ones like what wags the dog and you try to feed him biscuits when
or
he
something.
opens his
Yeah.
mouth. And you know how many versions of that they've made, the shark, the fish.
There's one with an
Hell.
elephant that shoots butterflies in the air, and you got to catch them with butterfly nets.
Well, you know the pop-up ones I was talking about, pop-up games?
Yeah.
There was one that had these little fishes that you put in this round disc that went around, and what it did was the fish would be raised up, someone would open their mouths, and you had these little fishing poles
Yeah, I know
with
exactly what
hooks,
you're
right?
talking about.
And you
yeah.
try to catch them as it, like
I
that.
played that quite a few times.
Okay, and stuff like that.
Because they'd sitting there spinning around, and like this one,
I
it's
played that at school.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
And they'll spin around, and they open and close their mouth, and you gotta just try to dangle it in there and catch them. I love that.
And they brought it back in different types with some with fishes. Then they did like birds or something with something. You know what I mean? You could see how they revamped games back into play too.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Just like Clue, how, the board game, how do you expand from here? Well, then they made one that came with back when VHS was out. They came out with one that you could play that had a VHS tape to it.
Yeah.
And, different experience of playing it and stuff like that. And
I remember-
I couldn't tell you how many board games probably revamped themselves through the years that if they do it right in a long enough time, they can gather a huge audience again. Because it's, the parents ain't paying a real close attention.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, and then they're
Yeah.
captivated.
I remember a few. I don't know exactly which board games they were, but a few of them from when I was younger that included a DVD with them that you played while playing along with
Yes.
the board game.
Oh,
I think one of them was
Family
like
Feud.
Family Feud, yes, and there was also another one. I think it was maybe.
What's the one they turned the Wheel of Fortune?
Wheel of Fortune, and then
You know what? That was another thing too. Was how they brought the game shows onto board games too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like The Price is Right.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
$1 Million briefcase.
Oh
whatever
yeah,
the fuck they called
the
it.
$100,000 pyramid.
Yeah, Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal, yeah. I forgot about those board games. I played the Family Feud and I played the Wheel of Fortune one, but I've never played any other game show ones they had that came out. I didn't.
Me either.
The Price
Yeah,
is Right
neither have
on
I.
those. I've seen them, but I've never played them.
By the way, the one board game that I was thinking of that I don't know why we had, but we did, we were children, was an America's Got Talent one that came with a disc.
Oh my
and,
god!
And it was this stupid
Mom.
microphone that had a spring in it, so it.
It was Mom.
Okay, that
You're in
explains
trouble, man. You better hope you don't listen to this one, because everybody knows how much we hate American Idol around here.
it. Ooh, yeah.
We folks, we do dish on it, but pretty bad. Yeah, you don't want to be a fan of it around. We're kind of rude about it. So, another board game that I really like to play and stuff that you can get into and stuff was that it's oh, you mime it. I can't think of it.
Charades.
That's it. Now that game, man, I can really get into that.
I don't think I've actually
sometimes.
ever really played charades.
Well, I'm talking. Well, it came out with a card, basically a deck of cards for charades. I
Yeah.
think at one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that because that one made you really people get goofy as hell. And
Would you like to play charades?
I've
Bubba.
had like cousins and friends get so into it that they end up like tripping over a couch corner.
I feel
or
like
a
that's kind of
table.
a drinking game.
Kind of, yeah.
You know?
Oh, see, with just drinking games, that's that's not too much for drinking. No, basically like pitching pennies, quarters, the pong. That's work. Drinking
I mean,
games.
yeah, but
Now,
this is like
if you're sitting around talking about like a group of guys, like we'll say 5 or 6 buddies just sitting around drinking some beers and decide to do that, okay, I
Yeah.
see your point. But if you're talking like drinking games, that's like party setting.
Oh no, like
That
party
goes on a
games
whole
are
different level.
party games. Those are hard for me because I don't go to parties.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a little hard to.
The only parties that I went that we played games at was
Besides your birthday.
Well, we only played Cards Against Humanity. That's literally the only game that really gets played at parties.
I like
anymore.
that game.
Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, now see
Amazing.
those type of games with especially family and friends. That gets so hilarious. Apple to apples, but Cards of Humanity, you can get it to where age grouping,
Oh, yeah,
especially for
definitely.
adults. If you got all adults in a room and you get the right type of cards for the group of adults, like when Grandma and all them
Oh,
were together
yeah.
and they did it. Holy cow! Those old ladies and old men were just laughing their butts off, all in their 60s.
One of them's like, I'm not
70s
saying
and-
that. Oh, I'll say that. Okay,
yeah.
say it.
Oh, the ones you didn't think would. They're dropping the F-bombs and they're there. I was like, holy cow.
You got Pop over there, happy to say something about
Oh,
goose
I know.
pussy. It's great.
Those
Like-
see that's the good times with the families and stuff, and that's the type of games to get. Cause oh my God,
I
The-
need to
the
get my copy
memories.
back from my buddy Fluffy's sister, actually.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to play
Oh,
it for
man.
a while now.
Oh, I'll tell you a story. As a kid, the worst thing for me was the games that had tons of pieces to them. It didn't matter what they were. I'd have them together for probably from the time I get it to the time I actually play with it real often.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about a month and a half span. I have probably lost a third of the pieces already. By
shit.
the time I'm really starting to play with it, you're trying to, compensate without the pieces I've already lost.
Yeah.
I start leaving pieces everywhere.
Oh, God.
And I don't know if there's a vortex in that house we lived in as a kid or what. Mom always told me there was a ghost, but I could never find them. I ended up having board games with like one piece to it. Hell, using pieces from other board games to fill in. Oh, for me, it was so bad for probably 4 or 5 years of getting my own little board games, of keeping things. All right. So with that, I think we'll end this section 2 with a good commercial and return that.
Rella Radio Show, Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. DJ CO1.
Welcome back. Now for part 3. I thought on part 3 we'd take this into like board games that people have made themselves, or friends you have, or a relative that's made their own board games. I know somebody that's done that themselves when we were kids. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you guys happen to get it, but we actually had a class where a teacher actually had you make up your own board game, like take like Monopoly. And like a friend of mine, what he did with it is he used the local town, use their streets and names and whatnot and stuff, and was his little one. But do you know of anybody or have thought of not a video game, I'm sorry.
A board game?
Board game that you would like to make.
Nobody
or
I
have
know.
seen made.
Nobody that I know personally, but I do know of someone who has when they were younger. A guy named James Rolfe made a board game called Deadly Danger Dungeon. And yeah,
That sounds interesting.
yeah, and when he made the board game, I guess he was a little child or something like
Okay.
that. And it's insanely hard. He has a whole YouTube channel where he does like board games, video game reviews, and whatnot.
Okay.
And he did a review of his board game, and he tried to play it, and every dice roll he did landed him in spikes or something. It's always you're
Okay.
losing health. The whole goal of the game is you have to find this key to open a door to get a gem, and then when you get the gem, you win the game.
Okay.
And the board is set up to where you can move anywhere you want, so as long as there's a pathway to go. So you roll, you can go backwards, you can go forwards, or if you up and down like that.
Oh, okay.
And I've some people online have taken it and made it like an actual playable board game, like in your browser and whatnot. And I tried it, and every roll I did when I played I ended up losing. And it's true to the name, Deadly Danger Dungeon, 'cause it's definitely something you could see a kid making.
Okay.
I don't know how else to put it. Do you know anyone who's made one?
I do not.
Have you ever had any ideas like about a board game that you thought would need, or even a takeoff from one?
Roughly, I was thinking maybe like a Fallout board game would be cool.
Okay, yeah, I see. Now there's a couple different ways you can do with that type of topic. Would it be like a vault thing, or?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
Vault Life or something.
To kind of conceptualize and explain a little better what he's talking about. So Fallout, it's a post-apocalyptic video game. But
Yeah, I know what the game is.
the board game would be you would have a vault and you'd basically be taking care of it, like trying to maintain it or something.
Yeah, you'd have to do. There's like maybe you make some cards or
Okay.
dice roll.
The dice roll cards.
And you have to like keep up with the maintenance.
I see.
Food
what you're
supply.
saying.
I can kind of see it being like a game of life type of thing where you're going around the board and oh no, maintenance cleanup, got to pay this much in caps or something like that. Or
Yeah.
As you complete missions of
Yeah.
certain origins and certain certain countries or
I
whatever.
actually think
Okay.
that'd be really fun to play.
Maybe something like that, where maybe every now and then, like certain roles, it would depend on the board. Like you land on a certain space, and you'd get a radroach infestation.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. There's like several different ways you could come at this as far as playing it and whatnot.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know if there is one, but to come up with an idea for one.
Well, that's what I
would
mean.
wanna play, that would be
A couple, because you never
That'd
know
be
how they
sick.
would. As far as we know it, they would actually sit down and go and do a game. That probably go in some direction you don't even have an idea of. You know, you're like, what's this? You know, I never thought of that. Wow. you know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hit me up, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it exists. I'm sure it does, and I'm sure someone, maybe when you were younger, has made one. But I would love to see like a Scooby-Doo board game where you basically play through one of the episodes and try to figure out the mystery.
If you
It'd
probably
kind
look
of be
it
like a
up,
Clue type thing, I
Yeah.
guess. But I feel like I don't know. I'm a sucker for Scooby-Doo.
No,
so.
I would imagine with that Scooby-Doo. Yes, I do believe it is a board game, and I've probably seen it. But you got to figure with that, it would probably be many different kinds of board game or games. I'll
Yeah.
say not board games, but actual games. Board games include, but games like the Mystery Machine.
Mm-hmm.
It actually be a box, and what you got to do is do this, and something pops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you got a board game, and they may come up with some kind of trail, and you go through the ghosty swamp and the thing, you know, and you'll probably touch on some key characters of theirs. You know, with Scooby-Doo, I'd imagine that one probably has 2 or 3, maybe 4 different styles of the game.
Yeah.
Of a board game style. So, but that Scooby-Doo, yeah, everybody loves Scooby-Doo. I don't know too many people don't like it and stuff. We've talked about that in the video game episode too, how much we like Scooby-Doo.
Oh
the
yeah, definitely.
video games. So the board game, that may be something to look up to see if we can find one to get, you know, not pay no arm and a leg either.
Oh yeah, no,
I
definitely.
refuse to do that. That's another topic there, is how expensive. Like if you can get some of the board games we've named off, or even specialty type ones that you haven't seen, or maybe only gotten a certain area came out or something. I don't know. But have you noticed, if you look up a board game, how much they want for these things?
Oh, it's insanely
It's
expensive,
insane.
and especially if you want to get it complete in the
Well,
box,
no,
not
no.
missing any pieces either.
That's my thing. I've seen them with pieces missing for 200 to 300 on some, and I'm thinking these people are out of their mind. Now,
The thing is, people will
it
buy
may
'em.
be in pristine condition, everything. It may be like it was pulled out once, but still, that's insane for you to charge that much for this old game like that, you know.
Here's a good one, just for mention's sake.
Mhm.
I want to get Jumanji,
Jumanji?
but I want to get the wooden one.
Oh,
I
the
know which
wooden
one
box
you're talking
one.
about.
The
I've
box
seen
one.
that. That is nice. See, that's Was it you that mentioned something about the board games that they came in the hardwood boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now those.
It's
were-
like a collector's edition almost,
Yeah.
right?
Now
It
those are
they're
nice.
expensive though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Because don't we own the Life in a box like that?
Yes.
I believe so. I think
It's like a book.
I think
It's-
Papa
Yeah,
gave
it's
it
in
to
a
you guys
decent
for
condition
Christmas.
too.
Yeah. It's just setting up Life to play it is just.
Yeah. Everything.
Yeah, my point exactly.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, you know, you gotta be really jazzed up to get into the mood to play.
And then the stupid spinner.
That's why I like this whole they have this thing called Tabletop Simulator on
Okay.
computer where you can basically it lets you play board games. It's what it's meant for board games on your computer. So if like quarantine, nobody can be around to play this board game, you can all play it on that. That's probably the only way I'll play a Life, because I do own it, and that way you don't have to set anything up. You just load it up and it's all done for you.
Yeah,
You just
the
play the
app.
game normally.
Yeah, through the
'Cause-
app and stuff. Yeah.
Because
That-
setting
Well, you knew that was coming.
Oh yeah, definitely. And
With
I
apps,
and I
you knew
think
board games were gonna hit on the apps. Shoot, I remember before there was apps or anything, when just the computers, you were starting to really. There was 2 or 3 internet search places you could pick from to go to. You know, Netscape, stuff like that. And this was before Google even. And most computers came with like Yahtzee on it.
Yeah.
I remember playing that on there. Uno, but Uno, I think you had to actually go to some website or something that had,
Yeah.
and it had a couple board games like that you could play. The spinner type thing on that. Yeah, that started. I remember it starting starting out like that and stuff. I can only imagine with apps now how in depth it gets.
The sad part about it though is, like they have so many different versions of Monopoly and like life as like a video game. They never seem to get them right. Like the games are always like just they don't play well. And I don't understand how you can screw up like programming a board game. It's the rules were set in stone. It's nothing you got to come up with yourself. And this is coming from another programmer, so you know.
Yeah,
like,
I understand.
I just
don't-
because the games like I see them like I'm going through scrolling trying to look through a game or something, and I see the reviews for these, and all the board game ones that I see always have really horrible reviews. And the tabletop simulator that I brought up is the only one that doesn't, but that's because there's other people making all the things for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to make it yourself. But you had something you wanted to bring up. What was it?
There's a game that I want to play
Yeah.
very badly.
Yeah.
However, it takes a lot of people to play it, kind of like Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, what is
This
it?
is a board game. They made a town called Salem.
Oh,
they made
okay.
that a board game.
A town called Salem. It's based off the rules of Mafia. Do you know what that is? That's what they called it, right?
Essentially.
It's because the only other thing I can compare it to is the video game Among Us. But
Yeah.
explain.
You're a bunch of town members. Everybody's a town member.
Okay.
But each town member has a role, and each role is specific to you, and you have one task. Well, some people are in the mafia.
Okay.
Some people are like part of like regular town, police, like a jailer, mayor,
A townsperson or a
There's-
shopkeep or something like that.
Okay.
and then they've got seer or whatever can talk to the dead townies. Well, there's a day and a night. During the day, someone gets hung.
Nice.
You're explaining it kind of bad here.
It goes
Someone
day to night. Every day, someone gets like people will die.
and why are
And the
they?
reason the people die is because there's
You're trying
yeah
to-
you
Okay,
You're
so
better.
you're trying to figure out who's in the mafia basically, and everyone's doing their own role. The mafia members are basically have a fake role to do. Isn't it at night is when they get to kill?
Yeah.
And in the morning they have to make sure they're not the ones being caught out. So it's basically figure out who the imposter is.
Oh, that's.
But there's
okay.
multiple.
And then yeah, but in this case, there's multiple different imposters, like a whole group
Yeah,
of 5 or something like that. Ain't
there's-
it?
Basically, it's
Okay.
on an order of clue, trying to figure out who did the murders of the next day. But the problem is
it keeps happening till you
we'll
find
say
out.
5 mafia members, that are doing the hiding in at night. Maybe 2 do a murder.
Yeah.
And it's not okay. And I'm sure it gets a little
The
more.
unfortunate thing is that there's one-off roles too. Like
is-
the jester, his only goal is to get hung.
Oh,
and then when
so-
he gets hung, he wins.
Well, I don't think that'd be hard to get done by the mob. I
And
think
isn't
they'll
it that nobody
accommodate it.
knows whose role is who, right?
Yeah, nobody knows who's who.
Right.
And
No,
it's-
Certain people do. So, like the mafia
Oh.
members know who they are, and
okay.
other than that, you have to go off of what notes are left behind by the townies because you're told to write notes.
Okay.
Keep notes of what you do on your job.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like one of those games you got to sit down and read the instruction how to
Yeah,
play
it's a little
type thing,
complicated.
but
A
it
little
sounds like
complicated.
it does sound like it'd be fun though.
Oh
It's
yeah,
very
definitely.
fun.
But it does sound like you do need like a group of at least 10 or so people, maybe
Yeah,
12.
on the
something like
lobby, the lobbies can get as big as 32 on the game, but for the board game, I don't know exactly how many players it is. I think it's
Okay.
4.
that. Okay.
Okay, so they condensed it down a
They
bit.
dumbed
Okay,
it down
okay,
quite a
okay.
bit, I'm sure, but
Well, shoot, I played a board game.
Yeah, that way there's probably only one mafia member then, and then it's not at the 4 people. Because
Well, yeah, and it's based on a clue with a lot of extra pushing you around.
but
too.
it might have some weird thing to it. To
There's
where
some weird quirks.
One person controls quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it would have to come down to you actually getting a hold of the game and seeing what the
Yeah.
instructions
Yeah.
entail. Okay, we'll go ahead and we're gonna end episode 11, right?
yeah, I think
Okay,
it's
yeah, it's episode 11. I'm starting to forget my old age. And but we do have a side note for you folks. We are gonna switch to 2-week intervals soon. Son will explain it.
So after the this episode goes live, that'll be on what, the 10th? Yeah, we will be uploading episodes bi-weekly for a little bit. it until the foreseeable future. We'll have a little update video on when we go back to the normal schedule. Well, update episode, not video.
Yeah.
But for now, after this episode that goes live next week from where we're recording it, we will be uploading every 2 weeks. So we'll have episode on the 24th after the 10th. So
Yeah, to work on a couple side projects and get caught up on a few things, and then we will eventually get back to our weekly ones.
But for now we gotta take a little time to slow down.
Yeah,
and
there's a few
work on some
things in the
things.
works for us, and we'll let you in on it. So as that goes, we appreciate you listening, and thank you for hanging in there with us. Thank you for listening. This is Dad,
and Son on the Coffee Bar Stories.
a DTZ Entertainment presentation.
Check in every 2 weeks for a new episode. All music was brought to you today by Kevin MacLeod.